Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm editing my website or one of my websites, and I figured as I edit my website, I'll talk to you about my journey this week. This week was kind of cool because I learned a bunch of stuff. um, I got to speak with a bookstore owner in my local town of Columbus, Georgia, and it's called the Columbus Bookbound or Columbus Bound is what it's called, bookstore. Really cool. The owner is really sweet, and I'm actually going to interview her next week so that she could be on this channel. And we are going to talk about the trials and tribulations of an author getting their book into bookstores. So, I got to talk to her for a little bit, and we were discussing the real estate of the bookstore, um, finding a lot of times for indie or self-published authors, it's hard to find their book in the catalog that they have access to. So that's another issue. So we're gonna discuss how to go about getting your book into the catalog that bookstores order from. She also told me that all the bookstores are they network, right? So it's there's so much that we talked about, so much that we learned, and it was really good. And I really enjoyed the short conversation I had with her. And I had contacted three bookstores this week, and not just to like see. I already kind of know because I've been down this road already. Um, about getting your books into the bookstores. It's the key is you got to build your following first. And once you build up a good following and you have a good steady sales and that's building and growing, you have a better chance of getting your book into bookstores because you got to think there's best-selling author books in bookstores that are not being sold. So, and it's just what it is. It's just how it is. How did this end up like that? I gotta double check this one. Hold on. Give me. Oops. Um. Did I do that wrong? Why is my site looking blurry? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just saying this is coming out funky for some reason. So, with this type of website, it's this was done through Wix, and I basically took a template that I liked, and even though the template looked very complicated, and it is a very complicated template, um, I decided to take on the challenge. And let me tell you, it is really a challenge because sometimes you just kind of learn as you go. See, it looks fine here, but for some reason on the website it's coming out funny. And I don't exactly know how to fix that. Not yet. That is going to take some finessing. Um let's see. I wonder if I could read through this cuz it's a weird looking apparatus he has there. I don't know what to call it because it starts out as a sword and then it turns into a stick on fire. We don't know where we're going with that. We're working on it. Anyway, yeah. So I got to speak to her about all the things that and not just for authors, but also crafters. I put crafters and authors together because she even mentioned, like she said, she'll have people who want to sell their crafts at her shop, and it's just she only has so much space, and then it's just people aren't buying, so it's just sitting there, you know. So this was my solution. I think as crafters, as authors, we need to learn how we need to build up our following, and then kind of have that following follow us too. So if you want to get your book into bookstores, if you want to do a book signing there, how many people can you bring into that bookstore? So she said that she had two people who did, well, she mentioned two people that, I don't know how many she had total, but she had mentioned two people who did a book signing at her shop, and she said one person, it was three people she actually mentioned. One person, I want to say it was just a couple people that showed up. And then the other person, she had 10 people. And then the other person who was a professor at UGA, and she was published by Simon and Schuster, and she had a publicist. She had her alumni, and the dean, all, you know, supporting her. And they said that, hey, we could bring out about 30 people to your store. Will you host the book signing for us? And she said, okay, yeah, if you could bring out those many people, I will definitely host a book signing for you. And sure enough, I think she said in total, actually, how many showed up was 20, but that she said that was really good, and that was like the most she's had. And she says, honestly, for this her store size, that was perfect. You know, like that was good. But she said, it's really hard to get people to come out to events. It's kind of, I should put it, kind of the time we live in too, you know, and just everything that's going on. I think people are so bombarded, but it's unfortunate. But I think for us as authors and crafters, we need to find a way how we can bring people to our events in our local area. And that to me is going to be engaging more with the community, really getting engaged with the community, and and I feel like if you get more engaged with your community, just going to community events, introducing yourself, getting to know the business owners. There's a chambers of commerce you could join, which I know, like when I lived in Orlando, for me to I joined the Kissimmee because I was living in Kissimmee, and the Chamber of Commerce there, it cost us at that time almost, it was just under $400 for the year. But it was really cool because, and then they have all these, Orlando's great for networking. Don't get me started on there. Orlando is, if you're in the Orlando area, you're in a good spot. I don't know how it is now, but when I was there, it was awesome. But getting yourself into like the Chamber of Commerce or other networking groups in the community is really, really, really good. So, oh, she is over here. Okay. So, when I was in the Chamber of Commerce and other networking groups in Orlando, that's how I learned that Legoland was coming. That I learned so much stuff about the community and what was coming to town. And what would happen is you would learn like, okay, well, Legoland is coming to, I forgot what city it was in. It wasn't too far from where I lived. I think probably about an hour or less, maybe 45 minutes away from where I lived. And the area that they were building in didn't really have a whole lot of anything around. It was one of those, just a small rural town. So had I been, let's just say I was a franchise owner for Dunkin' Donuts, well, you know what? I'm going to look into building a Dunkin' Donuts where I know Legoland is going to be. Like that was the opportunities you got with being a part of like the Chamber of Commerce and things like that. The meetings were good. They had breakfast networking. They had all these networking things. So you got to know all everybody in the community, all the uppers in the community, and you got to know what was going on before everybody else in the community knew about it. So It's a great thing. Um, where I live, it's a very, very small town. And I don't know. I'm learning this area now that I'm in college and I'm now starting to like get out a little bit more. Um, but when I lived here, I was going through some stuff, so I was just on survival. Still kind of on survival mode. But I didn't come my mindset was on a different type of run. So I was hustling, but in a different type of hustle. It was more for survival. Now it's more about, okay, educating myself, networking, getting to know this area. So that's what I was about. I didn't plan to stay here that long, to be honest with you. I'm supposed to be going back home to Orlando. But I'm still here. Anyway, um, that was what I really wanted to talk about. I really want you guys to think about. I know being an introvert makes it difficult because I'm asking you to go out on a limb, go out on a shell, but maybe there's find groups of like-minded people, which is hard because introverts, they kind of we recharge on our own most of the time. Um, but find little like maybe there's other crafters or whatever it is. Maybe you do photography, and there's other photography groups. Start looking into what can you comfortably, and I need to push you out of your comfort zone. So comfortably do just to help build you up, and then what would be like a little bit uncomfortable for you, and then just keep pushing that envelope. Makes it a little bit uncomfortable, a little more uncomfortable. Like that's what I'm doing for me. So for me, it was really hard walking into that bookstore and talking to that lady. I had to gear myself up a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And it was so crazy, but I just relaxed. I went there, I met with her, and I had the best time. Like, she was just a very sweet person. It was just her and her mom there at the store at the moment, and they're both awesome people. So, you know, it was worth it. I'm glad that I did it. And now that helped build my confidence. And she was ready to do an interview right there on the spot. But I told her I don't have my equipment and all that stuff. So we're going to be doing this next week. So I'm excited. I'm very excited about this. So, baby steps, right? I took a baby step and I took another baby step and I took another baby step. So that's what we need to move in and think about ways that you can create a following, online and offline, and see how they can follow you to when you have these events. So in my case, in my situation, she's like, "Oh, I would love to have your books in the store." The book that I sent her was actually this one, The Chemistry of Love. And she said, "I would love to have your books in my store, but I couldn't find you in the catalog." So I'm gonna go deeper into that in the show, but there is a catalog that they can order from for self-published authors. That your book is right there alongside the traditionally published authors. So, and they tend to like to order from that because it gives them insurance. So if your book doesn't sell, they could send it back to you. So I'm going to give you all the pros and cons about having your book in that catalog. It's good. Some people have good stories, some people have horror stories, because though I'll just tell you now, as an author, you want to make sure your book is on point, because if your book is not, and people come and return the book, or people don't buy the book because they see blaring whatever mistakes in your book, and the shop owner is going to pack up your book and ship it back to Ingram Sparks. Ingram Sparks is going to now charge you for those books. So you don't want to go rushing off spending that money so quick. You want to give it some time, because if you get charged back, if they charge you on the books that didn't sell, it's going to hurt. It is definitely going to hurt. So to prevent that, do your best. And even sometimes you can have an absolutely perfect book, it just didn't sell, and the shop owner, because I told you about the real estate and all the other things within the store, we'll talk about that later, they don't have the room to hold your book, they can send your book back also. So that's the thing with that. If you're a crafter, look into, if you want to say, I okay, say you're a painter and you have your art pieces, consider partnering with a bookstore on having them, say, hey, can I put my artwork on your wall as a part of your store? And if it sells, they get a commission off of it, right? Um, just a suggestion. I don't know how that works. I'll even ask questions and I'll find out if that's even possible for some places. If you knit stuff or whatever you do, consider maybe making bookmarks. It may not bring in a whole bunch of money. It may or may not. It's just a suggestion. But before you get into it, I would research first to see if it's even worth going down that path. So, anyway, that's it for today. I know I didn't do much editing. Uh, I'll get into this later. But I just want you guys to consider, like, taking baby steps, getting out of your comfort zone, and also, uh, yeah, the whole bookstore, the Chamber of Commerce. If you live in a place like Orlando or wherever you may live, if they have a good Chamber of Commerce. If you join the Chamber of Commerce, it's not a bad thing. So you get to learn. That's how you really, like, fast track to learning about your community and all the stuff that's going on in your community, and you kind of get to know who's who and all that wonderful stuff. So I will talk to you guys next week, and I'm going to be filming her next week. So then I'm going to need time to edit. So it's probably going to be a couple weeks before I get that episode out. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you could be notified when that new episode comes out. And if you're an author, crafter, and this is great for you if you're on a tight budget, or you just have no you don't you don't know what to do when it comes to marketing. For most artists, marketing is not our strong point. We'd rather stay home and work on our craft, and we just want people to sell it so we can make more of our craft. That's it. We just want to feed the addiction and pay our bills, right? So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.